And what are the costs involved in living here in the Philippines? Today's podcast is going to be how cheap it is here. Here's some examples. And I'll go in depth today. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth than I normally do. Uh, in fact, many people requested this. So here's some examples. So where I live, if you were to rent a place, basic place, say 10 feet by 10 feet, you can rent a place. And it has water, of course. It has bathroom. It has shower. Uh, as far as hot water, it does not have hot water. And you can rent one for 1,500 peso a month, so $30 a month. You can live. It's 10 feet by 10 feet square. It's very small. It does have a bed, and basically that's it. Of course, a sink, a small kitchen. But you can also get bigger places to live for 65 to $100 a month, one bedroom or two bedroom. When I first came here in the Philippines, I rented a place for $106 a month, and it was a two-story, two-bedroom house with aircon. And it was really cheap for me to live there. In fact, it was very cheap. Could have stayed there forever. But when you live in an apartment situation, you tend to. The reason I left there is it was fine and dandy in the beginning, but when later on you have other tenants coming in, there's arguing and fighting and karaoke all hours of the night, party. It got to really be a nuisance. It got to be a point where you couldn't even go home and stay there. So it was like we had to get out of there. We literally had to get out of there. It was just overwhelming. But we paid $109 a month. If you can withstand all that, you can actually live inexpensively, really, in an apartment or something like that. But most people couldn't deal with what we had to deal with at that time. It was all right for about a year or two, and then it just faltered down. But if you go to CDO and Dabo, and I'm familiar with this because we did check on this, and we were looking to purchase there and or rent there at one time. And CDO, you're looking at it's going to run about the same in this if you're outside the city. It's going to run anywhere from 30 to 100 to $150 a month. In the same situation, 10 by 10 and or apartment and or studio, what they call studio, which is just one big open room and everything's there. You have a you don't have a washer and dryer or anything like that. You have to wash by hand and or take to the laundromat and have them do it. They do have laundromats here. When I first arrived here in the Philippines, there was no such thing as laundromats. So it was something that's come about in the last few times. But they will do your laundry for you. You do not go and do your laundry, so you're going to have to pay those fees. And those particular fees vary also. Anywhere depend. They weigh the load, like a 15 kilo, 20 kilo, and they price it accordingly. Anywhere from $5 to $7 per bunch. So 15 kilo is $5. 20 kilo is more than that. It's like $7, $8. It goes up. So if you were to rent a place in CDO or Dabo, it's going to run you $200-300 a month on a minimum, a nice place, and you can get up to $400-500. You find you a real nice house for $400-500 a month, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house. Many foreigners tend to go that route, and it's cheaper for them to rent $300-400 a month. It's basically two-story, three-story home that someone has had, and they're renting them out. Now you can what they call get what they're called studio apartments, and in CDO and Dabo, and they run about $200 a month. And they're usually outside the city about 15 minutes or 20 minutes, but even in the city itself, you can do that. So it makes it really nice that you can do that. Now, also too, renting a car is something that you can also do here in the Philippines. Is rent a car. Or rent a car. You can rent a driver, rent a car. Rent a car is going to run you about $60 a day to rent it individually. They do have special deals that you can do, but it's a little bit more pricey. But you can actually hire a driver with that car for $60 a day. But you sometimes, depending on where you rent it, you can actually, the driver himself is extra. Now, if he spends the night or stays with you, like say you're going on a trip for 2 days, 3 days, you have to pay his way. Now plus the fees. And you can work that out with the driver sometimes, because a lot of times the place will just pay them a normal salary, and then the other is extra. In fact, Ruth and I have thought about renting a a do a place on our own, but like renting a driver and things like that to take us somewhere. But it can get costly. It really can get costly. But 60 a day is not bad, including the driver. And if you drink alcohol and if you smoke and things like that, if you come to the right place, because beer itself is 45 peso for a liter bottle of beer, and you can have a drink of beer for, and that's usually Red Horse. Now, Tanduay and other things like that, they vary, but it's really inexpensive here to drink and smoke. Cigarettes, or you can buy them by piece, or you can buy them by pack, and it runs anywhere from $6, $7, $8 a pack. You can find them cheaper. It depends on the brand and things like that. But the guys, and basically they're Marlboros. They're basically Marlboro cigarettes. If you take a taxi here in the Philippines, if you're lucky enough to here where we're at, we don't have a taxi per se. We have tricycles. You take a tricycle, and it costs you about 20 to 30 peso a day. So anywhere from 30, 40 cents, 50 cents, close to 50 cents to ride a tricycle each way. So $1 a day. Taxis will start out usually at $1, and then they go up from there depending on how far you travel. They can get up more than that depending on where you're at. For example, we flew into CDO, and from CDO to town CDO, Ruth and I paid $8, and we gave him a $10. We gave him an additional $5 or $10. I forget what it was. Ended up he ended up a very good day for him. It was nice. It's during the night. Not a lot of taxis, believe it or not. Not a lot of taxis sometimes. You can do the Uber. You can do the Grab. Call them. There's another one. I forget its name, but you basically call them and they'll come pick you up. But if you're flying in the night, you may find it hard finding a taxi. We found one luckily, but he was the only one there. It was amazing. He said, "Are you the last taxi?" And he goes, "Apparently." He says, "There's nobody else here." He said, "I just happened to be dropping off." And I said, "Well, I did the New York thing. Did you see it?" He's from the States. He drove in New York City, and he's going back. He said, "I made so much more money in the States," so he's going back. He came back to visit his family, and ended up staying because his family was sick, but he was planning to go back to the States. He said, "In the city of New York." I said, "How'd you find it?" He said, "I love it." He loves it. He said, "I love it. I love the traffic there. I love it. I love driving there." He said, "It's not as it's easier to drive in New York City than it is here in the Philippines." I go, "Really?" But but it's okay. Now the bus, if you're taking a bus, for example, if you're going to travel on a bus, it'll run you $6 per person. For example, if we were going to CDO and or Davao, and it's about 120, I would say 100 miles to either or. One's like 180 miles, the other one's 100 miles, but they charge the same. Hey, go figure, right? But anyway, they charge the same, $6 per person each way. So it's not bad. It's bad when they have a full bus, and it's bad. The only negative parts about bus is they stop many times, and for you to get there, they could stop. I'm just going to say they can stop 50 times or more. And some of the stops they stay 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So to go 100 miles, 120 miles, it can take hours. Hours. It can take 4 or 5 hours one way because they stop, they have breakfast, they stop again, get a snack, go to the restroom, they stop again to pick up a passenger, which I don't blame them. They pick up a passenger that goes a mile down the road. And in this heat, an elderly person driving or walking, I would do the same. So there's not really any other transportation. Now, there's tricycles that will take you anywhere and drive with you and take you up to the mountains and things like that. But a lot of people don't want to take a tricycle, and you have family and your bags, you can't do that. And they do have that. So gas is 68 cents per liter here where I'm at, which is not too bad if you think about it. It's not a really horrible expense, but it's actually pretty good. 68 cents per liter. You can get around pretty good. I mean, in this day and time, I think it's fair. But they have gone up in the rates on that. If you take a look at something that I have a problem with here is clothes. Clothes, more expensive. If you're a big guy like me, you may find a problem finding some size clothes that you will need. Clothes themselves can be quite frustrating to find. Like, for example, this shirt. I've had this shirt probably 10 years. Believe it or not, 10 years. And I wash it with care, and so does Ruth. We take care of our things. The thing about it, I have to take care of it because Mr. Mitch Brumwell, a friend of mine from Titusville, sent me some shirts. It's just some that he had left over and things like that. He sent a small, a big bound box, and he put some shirts in there. And thank you for that, Mr. Mitch Brumwell. The thing that I'm finding is they necessarily have what they're called their version of 5X. It's European cut and it's European style and it's very small. So American size is 5 times as big. I've ordered clothes from U.S. I ordered from Amazon. I've ordered from eBay. eBay arrives here. Amazon does not. So if you're planning to where I live, I did a poll online. It's about 70% no, 75% no, and 25% yes that they deliver to their area. The 75% said no, they do not deliver. But even though they say deliver, they do not deliver in some cases. Now, a friend of mine that is living in the U.S., his wife is here. He sends stuff all the time here, and she gets it from Amazon. But yet, I'm 4 kilometers out from town, 3 kilometers out from town, and I don't get any packages. Go figure, right? They said no carrier available, but he seems to get his products fine. I do not get any products from Amazon. I've tried many times. I've given up on it. And honestly, to be honest with you, Amazon's a little pricier than what I can buy. I can buy them online cheaper from eBay. Sometimes at least half the cost of what I was buying. It's hard to believe. And get this, most of the suppliers are supplying the products that's online that you're buying, the clothes and things and shoes and whatever you're purchasing, comes from China anyway. So they get it to U.S. fine, and they're going to take it from U.S. and ship it back to us, or the carrier will ship it from China here, and sometimes it will not arrive. Shoes will be a problem. I'm a wide foot. I'm not an E, but I'm a D. I'm 11.5 foot D. 11 and a half or 11, depending on the shoe style and type. D, but you can't find any D size. They're all like, I don't know what they are. They're more like straight and small, so I cannot find shoes. I've had the same shoes now for years. We did find a pair of shoes that we purchased in Valencia City, and they were fairly big size, and so we bought 2 pair of them, and I'm still wearing those shoes to this day. An American that was leaving, I bought a pair from him, a pair of topsiders that he had, and I've been wearing those, and they're okay. They're working out well for me too. Food. What are we going to say about food? Food's basically cost-wise is exactly about the same that what it is in the United States of America. You may find it cheaper in the United States of America. Eggs, for an example, here, they've gone up considerably. You can buy. It's about $1.40, $1.50 a dozen here. If you were to buy them where I'm at locally, $1.40 to $1.50. You may be paying more than that in the United States. But I did do some online checking this morning. At Walmart, you can buy them cheaper than that, less than $1 a dozen. So, but eggs, for an example, I just use breads like that are cheaper in the U.S. I know bread's cheaper, and the bread here is half the size of steak bread, United States bread, and but it's okay. It serves a purpose, and bread is bread, right? So the same cost, basically the same. Maybe a little cheaper in the U.S. Electric is more expensive here in the Philippines than anywhere else in Asia. I wonder who said that. Said it online. That's what Google says anyway. So it is. I'm paying more electric than someone lives in Luzon pays. I'm paying more electric than what someone else is paying in Naga or anywhere else. I know that my electric here is out of sight. My neighbor down the road's paid $269. He's telling me yesterday. He has no AC. And he runs fans, and he said he's dying, so he's buying an aircon because now we're getting into the heat season. It was so hot yesterday, he couldn't stand to be outside. Humidity is high, high, high. Water's running about. Water's cheap here. Water everywhere. None to drink. Drinking water, don't drink any of the water here. If you have water and you're trying to drink water, make sure you get it from a reputable water facility that changes their filters. Not all water uh, facilities here that you get supply the water change your filters. I did a test on this about 3 years ago, before pre-COVID, so 3 years ago, and found that 99.9999, 100%, in other words, did not change your filters. Oh, I change them, and what they do, they take a sticker and put over top the other sticker and never change the filter out. The guy told me that's exactly what they do. So when they go inspect it, oh, okay, filter's been changed, and they never changed it, so they just put the same sticker over it. So I said, why don't you? He said, they're expensive. I said, so what? You're making money on water. I'm paying $35 for a jug of water. It's a blue jug. I don't know how many liters in there. They vary sizes, by the way. Not all jugs are the same. That's what I want to say. But yeah, in fact, he said, yeah, we just take a sticker, put the date on there. We change it every 30 days. Take the old sticker, scrub it off, make it look really pretty, and stick a new sticker on. And they just make them on the computer, the same as anybody else would. But you have to really look at that. So what we started doing is we bought our own purifier, water purifier ourselves. It's a company called, I forget the name of it, Carrier. It's called Carrier, and you just pour the water in the top. It's got a filter in it. It's like a Brita filter. And it does like 500 gallons of water total, and then you buy another filter. Filters are expensive. It does, they're about $30 a filter, which is not bad, but it's still kind of expensive if you think about it. So, but we do that. We just fill it up and get enough water, all we need, and just buy another filter and back it up. So water. Haircuts, for an example, where I live. A haircut with a shave. You can get a haircut here for about $1 a haircut. And it comes with what they call a small body massage. And they massage your back, and they massage your arms and give you a nice shave for $1. It's well worth it. Well worth it. And they'll cut your hair. They're very good. They're very good hairstylists and cutters. Believe me, they're really, really good. One good thing about Filipino, they can adapt to any given situation. They are really adaptable culture, and that's what I love about them. If they see it, they can do it. If they see it on YouTube, they start doing it, they can do it. And sometimes they figure out a better way than it was done originally. So I shout out to them for that. The culture is great, and I was going to mention that. The culture is great. The culture itself is really accommodating. They help say someone, if you're in need, they're there to help you. If you fall on the ground, there's 5 guys to pick you up. They're really good culture, really nice people. One thing you cannot do here in the Philippines is never question their emotions, meaning if they're sad, happy, do not humiliate them. Do not talk down to them. Do not react on things. If you get angry, keep it to yourself. Don't show your true feelings, because they will hold that against you forever. You need to always portray yourself at whomever you are. But then on the other hand, if you're a mean person, you can't portray that here. If you're mean, you will be done by the family and or friends and or neighbors. And when you need them the most, they're not going to be there to help you. Best thing to do is just be nice to them at all times. Someone in need, and give them a couple bucks, give them a couple bucks. Don't deny them, because eventually it's going to be a time where you need them for something, and they'll be the first to help you. It was something funny. It's not funny, but I had a flat tire, and when it went flat, I said, okay. So I went to take it off, and there was 2 Filipinos just stopped on their motorcycle, and they changed it. Well, as I drive down the road, 2 more flats on the same day, within an hour, on the same car. So I had 2 more flats. Well, pull off the road, and it was not the same Filipino, but a couple more Filipinos saw they were flat on the motorcycle. They stopped again. One changed one, took it on a tricycle. We gave him money. and to get it fixed, and another one took the other one as he's taking that one off. So when he came back, in other words, it's like a well-oiled machine. Those tires were changed. I had 3 tires changed and fixed within an hour. And so 2 hours of tire changes, but they stopped and they helped. And of course, I'm going to give them money. And of course, I'm going to help them. And let me tell you something, gladly, gladly, that I didn't have to get out and change those things because those lug nuts were on there forever, it seemed like. But really, no, it was nice. And I told them thank you. And even though, were they expecting money? In fact, they turned, all 4 people turned it down. So it was like, really? Really? And they turned it down. They turned it down. I said, no, I tell you what, let me just buy your lunch today. So I gave them money. It was well worth it. So internet is spotty here. Culture's great. Internet is spotty. Forget the internet. If you're coming here for the internet, forget about it. Internet's not going to work. Just forget it. It's on, off, on, off, on, off. PLDT was down 1 month, and they still billed us the same amount of money, expect us to pay the bill. So I tell you what, I paid the bill. I paid them, it was, what was it, $90. I paid it, even though it was off. Good guy that I am. Then they started billing me the next month for the money that we had turned off. We had it turned off professionally, meaning we said we want it. PLD came out, gave us a form, filled it out, reason for termination. You guys are horrible. Don't come see me again. And then they bill me again the next month. And bill collector's been trying to call me now for months, trying to collect it. Now it's up to 80,000 peso from $100 to 80,000 peso in 6 months. How does that get that so high? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Wonder if someone, I don't know. But anyway, there goes that. I'm not using PLDT again. I got a local guy here in town. He uses PLT and Globe. He uses like 4 Converge. So if one is down, he uses another. If another's down, he switches. It's all computerized. That's down, 2's down, he goes number 3. He has 4 companies that he uses. So shout out to him. He's really a great guy. I picked up the phone last night. It was down at 10:30 at night. By 11 o'clock, it was back online. No worries, no problem, no hassle. So internet is on and off where I live. I don't know about anywhere else. Dentist is cheap here, $10 to pull a tooth, and it goes up from there. If you have dental work, Ruth, I, and RR went in, had dental work done. Drillings, cleaning, fillings, the whole 9 yards. Cost me $100. And well worth it. Ruth, they both had Novocaine to ease their pain. I had no Novocaine because I'm a little bit more, I can stand the pain a little bit more than they can. And of course, they drilled my teeth, cleaned them, and did a few fillings. And so it depends. It depends who you are. But $10, you can get your teeth done. Another thing I want to jump down to real quick is eye care. Eye care is cheap. Eye care. We went, it's been a year. It's been long. No, it's been a year. We had to go to CDO for my visa. And I remember we get our eye exams. Me, Ruth, got our eyes exam. Both. And through the machine. And 2 pairs of a pair of glasses, mine and hers. And it was $100. So well worth it. Well worth it. We're going to get our eyes done again next time we go to CDO, spend a night, and try to go to the store and get some, see if we can get some food, and stock up on things that we cannot get. That's the thing. I think I talked about food, but I don't want to get too much into food because I constantly talk about it. There's a shortage on some food. The vegetables are there's limitations. Like 10 vegetables you can get, you can't get any other than those 10 vegetables, and you got to survive on those 10 vegetables. Cabbage. And, they don't have lettuce, and they don't have bell peppers, zucchinis. There's a lot of things they don't carry. So you just have to manage with what they have here. All right, so land, title, pricey, depends on where you live. Land can be very expensive. In fact, the last time we bought this land here, it took us 4.5 years to get the deed squared away. And believe it or not, we had the title, it was done. It's just their process. It had nothing to do on our end or the landowner or anything. It just takes 3, 4, 5 years for them to process the papers in order to get your land done here in the Philippines. That can be quite frustrating, quite frustrating. It was like to the point to where I said, it's not worth it. I will never buy land. I will lease land and or something different. I will never buy land. Now, lease land, if you get into leasing land, it can depend on the owner of leasing that land. You can lease land for $2,000 for 25 years. You can lease land for $3,000 for 25 years. And yes, it's $2,000 or $3,000. And what I mean by that, you give them $2,000 and you got 25 years on that land. You can lease up to 25 years. The second time, they have the right to increase it by 25 years. So 50 years, you can do it. A Filipino can lease land up to 100 years. 100 years. A foreigner can only lease land for 25 years. And I know this because my best friend is an attorney. So we talked about this to him, and he said leasing land is the best for especially an expat and or American living here in the Philippines, because it gives you opportunity. You don't like that lease land, you can go somewhere else, or you can pick up and move in $2,000 for 25 years, or 3,000, or 4,000, or 5,000 for 25 years. Pretty good deal, right? So, and you just need to make sure that it's done by an attorney. Do not do it without an attorney, because he will make sure the title is good. He'll make sure that everything, and make sure it's a good attorney. It's like anything else. There are good doctors and bad doctors throughout the world, including the United States. And there's good attorneys and bad attorneys in the United States, just like it is here. And I'm saying you might make sure that that person's reputable. Now, you go in a community like this, they're not going to have but one or two attorneys. That's it anyway. And where I'm at, both the attorneys are my friends. In fact, one is my best friend. The other one is a friend that I know very well. He's a good friend of mine. And we had his wedding at his hotel. He owns a hotel, and we had his wedding there, and he's another good friend. And these guys are such great guys. I go get work done. They don't charge me a penny. I don't care if it's a letter. I don't care what it is. They just don't charge me a penny. And how I just built a relationship with them. They're just good guys. So I take them a gift or something special so they can do, or I take care of the girls in the office, and that means so much to them. And what I mean by that, I'll bring them a bunch of donuts, or I'll bring them lunch, or I'll bring them something that they can get excited about. And that makes the owners, both owners, very happy. Simple things like that in life. I learned that a long time ago. A dozen donuts can get you $1 million contract. I'll tell you a story about that one time. I did. A dozen donuts got me $1 million contract one time at NASA when I was in selling. All right, cars can be expensive. USD cars are very expensive here. So the best way, if you want to look buying a car, is actually go to the repo lots. Now, there's repo lots scattered throughout the Philippines. BDO, BPI has them online. You can actually look at the lots online, and you can probably get some pretty good deals on those. And they have some cars that have only been on the road 6 months, and they just fail to make payments after 6 months. So you want to find some good deals. Go on BPI, BDO online, and you can pick up some really good deals. There was one before we bought the van we were looking at buying, and it sold. Reason we didn't buy it. But there's one. It was 6 months on the road, and brand new car, brand spanking new, and they wanted like half of what the value of the car was. Half, and it was a brand new SUV. Really nice, a Buick. So I say, if you're in a situation like that, I would look at repos. If you want to buy a car, now I personally would not buy a car here, no more. I don't care, no more. U.S., yes. Here, no, because driving here is a challenge. You better make sure you have P's and Q's. Not only that, you better make sure you have not only one insurance, all the insurance you can get, because you can lose your car in an accident. They'll take your car away from you, and then you still have to make payments on that bad boy. If it's your fault, you might lose your car. That's the reason why I got rid of mine. All right, so schools, children, private care. Private care. Private care can run you, and what I mean by private is private schools. Excuse me, drinking some coffee here this morning. Sorry about that. My throat getting dry after 30 minutes here. The schools themselves can vary in prices. You take a private school, for example. We paid, it was $100 a month for the 9 months. That included all the books and things at that particular time. It's $100 a month, and that included transportation, them picking them up here and taking them to school and bringing door-to-door service. The school that ours at now is what they call a private. It's a university, so it's kind of like a public school, but it's a university. They call it a university. It's really a public school. It's really what it is. They call it private, but it's not private because all I pay for is her transportation. That costs me $40 a month right now. So it'll go up whenever they're going back to school 5 days a week. They're only going to school 2-3 days a week. The public schools overrun the students. The students in school runs the shifts. Public schools in town, they run from 6 a.m. to noon, and then from noon until 6 is another bunch of kids come in. And then last shift is from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. every day, 5 days a week. That's on like first grade to 8th grade. 9th, 10th, and 11th, 9 and 10, I'm sorry. 9 and 10, they go to school this week, and they're out of school the following week. So they're on 1 week, Monday through Friday, and then the next week they're off school Monday through Friday. Go figure, right? I had to think in my mind, so I'm looking over there. Sorry about that. But so Monday through Friday, on and then off a week. So I asked my ours cousin, I said, "Are you learning?" He goes, "I get back to school. I forgot what I learned the week before. Going to school 2 weeks out of the month." Said, I don't know. I'm not. I said, "You learning?" He goes, "No, I'm not learning anything." He said, "When we get in there, a lot of times we watch movies." And even our said the same. Said at her school, two teachers did not show up, so there was no class that afternoon in one of the days. And so sometimes they said in the class there's not too much to do, but they watch movies or they do a couple things like that. So they had to figure that out. So if you want your children to learn something, you might think before, if you're bringing them or if you have children, you might think about it. Right now it's a tough situation. You'd be better off homeschooling them yourself here, and in some cases in the U.S. too also. Western food. I talked about this, but I want to talk about this. We talked about this already, so I'm going to bring that up. I'm going down the list. Okay, safety. Safety, safety, safety. I'm going to close this out, and we're going to talk about safety here for 2-3 minutes. Safety in the Philippines. Is it safe here in the Philippines? Are you safe? It's like it is anywhere else out in the world. Are you safe in the Philippines? Philippines is funny. You are and you're not. You are and you're not. You are and you're not. And what I mean by that is it runs in cycles, it seems to be. For an example, it is safe pretty much, but it's not safe if you just have to really watch your back all the time. You need to be aware of your environment and need to be aware of what's going on. If you're in the city, they just caught a bunch of ladyboys. They were actually attaching themselves to foreigners and then taking them off in a van and then asking for money later. And they just caught this last week a bunch of them. As a group all throughout, scattered. So yes, it can be quite safe, and no, it cannot be. Well, remember, we're not in Kansas. I always say this to all my subscribers on my YouTube channels. We're not in Kansas anymore. And it's when you go to a different country, it's completely different rules, completely different setup. So you're safe. It's as safe as you want to be if you protect yourself with just be aware of what's going on. Protect meaning be aware. Keep your eyes open. Don't go down the dark alleys. Don't do things. In other words, don't be riding out at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. If you're riding your motorcycle, best stay home. Best stay home after dark. And even Filipinos say that to me sometimes. Sir, you need to get in. I said, I know. So we have to really think about sometimes where we live, where we want to live. The cost can be, you can save money here in the Philippines, but I've had people tell me that they've not saving any money at all here in the Philippines because it ends up costing more money in the long run. Because they're either spending it, they're used to having it, or they're not used to having it, and money goes further. In other words, they feel like they're rich here, and that's what happens. I don't think anywhere in the world, if you think about it, anywhere in the world you go, the dollar is strong here right now, and money does go further. But I find myself, honestly, things have gone up so much in price, I'm basically at square zero, even if it is 58-1. Because I went to the store yesterday. We normally spend about $150 a month at the store. And the last, this trip here, uh, 2 weeks ago, I gave her $100 to go buy groceries, so she went and spent $100, and this time she spent $120. So we're running double on groceries what we used to run, meaning it's costing us so far double. So as 140, it's going to be about $300 a month now on just groceries because things have increased. I have the bill here. Here's an example of the bill that she bought yesterday. You guys can't see it on the podcast, but this is yesterday's bill. Here's an example. We bought butter itself, $1 a thing of butter, $1, and it's a small thing. It's about 2 inches, no, about 3 inches by 2 inches, and coffee and canned goods. Canned goods $1 a can, except for sardines. So you're going to be paying quite a bit more for groceries than you did before. Bread's expensive now. It's just a little bit more than what I was accustomed to buying before when I lived here. Now remember, I've been here 7 years, so many of the guys that's been here 13, 15 years, they're filtering back to the United States and just coming here to visit. So they're filtering back and they're going back and forth because they're finding that it's cheaper. They live there. They bank their money when they can, either here or there. Because see, a lot of them have their houses and things paid for in the United States, so they just go back. The only thing they're paying for is their taxes on it. And even here, if your house is paid for like mine is, it's still inexpensive, but it still costs me closer to $1,000 a month just to live here. I would say it's running about $800-900 a month now to live here, and we don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. Electricity is a big part of it. A couple $100. Right now, my bill is $140, and if I didn't have my solar, it'd be $300, $400, easy, easy. So I have my solar. The only thing I don't have on solar is my air cons and air conditioners. I have 2 air conditioners. Now remember, I also have 2 houses. The other house is basically nothing on there but fans and lights. There's nothing. There's no TVs or laptops or anything going on in the other house. Just we have used gas, and so we started to cut back on electricity. Believe it or not, we had an inverter stove we were using here, and so we put that in a box. We're doing everything by propane and or at the Blessing House, and it reduced our bill about $50 a month. Just that one thing, because I'm running air now, and it'll be running all day. I'll keep it hot or cool in here. I'm not going to set in a hot house. People set in hot houses. Why would you want to? I didn't set in a hot house in the U.S., and I'm surely not going to set in a hot house here. So I want to thank everybody for always watching my videos, and thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me today. I decided to do this podcast today because people are asking, like, what are your costs? Can you go in depth? If you have any questions, all you got to do is send me a comment on Tom and Ruth Philippine Adventures, and I'll answer them gladly. And or just contact me through my email. It's on that website also. You can easily go in About Situation. You can find my email there. And you can find out and ask anything. I'll always help people that want to come to the Philippines, and hopefully they'll enjoy it here, as I do. I enjoy it very much. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys next time on Tom and Ruth Podcasts.